From a chubby rugby player with limited fighting skills and raw power to one of the most dominant and well-rounded fighters in the cage. From a 214-pound amateur MMA fighter to a 145-pound UFC pound-for-pound #1, and probably one of the greatest featherweights in the history of MMA. Welcome, fight fans. MMA Station is here to bring you another epic combat story. In the world of mixed martial arts, there are stories of champions who rise from unexpected beginnings. One of these fairy tales is about Alexander the Great Volkanovski, a fighter whose journey from the rugby field to the MMA cage has left an indelible mark on the sport. Let's go and see his meteoric rise in the MMA scene and how he transformed into a walking legend. Alexander Volkanovski was born in 1988 in Wollongong, New South Wales, Australia. His father was from North Macedonia and his mother was from Greece. Young Alex started Greco-Roman wrestling at the age of 12. He already had 2 national titles, but at the age of 14, decided to give up wrestling and focus 100% on the sport of rugby, something deeply ingrained in the Australian culture. His semi-professional rugby career was going very well. In 2010, he won the Mike Cronin Award for Best League Player, and in 2011, he was one of the main reasons Warilla Gorillas won a premiership promotion, with him being man of the match in the final game. Keeping himself fit for the rugby season, Volkanovski was training MMA and Greco-Roman wrestling. Step by step, he fell in love with the sport and found his true passion, fighting. The 214-pound Volk started his MMA journey at the age of 22 at the Freestyle Fighting Gym in Wollongong under the guidance of Coach Joe Lopez. Alexander's transition from rugby to MMA was far from easy. He had to adapt to a completely different training regimen, which included learning various martial art disciplines like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, and striking. Training for MMA was really hard on Alexander's body, and becoming a pro fighter came with lots of tough problems. But he didn't give up because he was very determined and worked really hard. He wanted to show everyone that he could make it in the challenging world of MMA. From amateur until he became professional, he moved from middleweight to welterweight, lightweight, and ultimately the featherweight division. His professional career started in the welterweight division, and gradually he moved down the weight classes. In 2016, with a record of 11-1, Alex Volkanovski faced Jamie Mullarkey as a featherweight and defended his AFC Championship title with a first-round TKO. After one more first-round TKO victory and a record of 13-1, the Volk received his entry ticket to the UFC. In November 2016, in Melbourne, he faced Yusuke Kasuya and won with a second-round TKO, the best possible start of a remarkable journey and one of the longest winning streaks in the UFC featherweight division. Alexander's journey in the UFC was marked by a series of impressive victories. He showcased his well-rounded skill set and continued to develop as a fighter. After 3 more wins in UFC Fight Nights organized in Australia, Volkanovski flew to Idaho to face Darren Elkins. The 3-round fight went on to the referees, and he took a unanimous decision win, which set him as an opponent for the higher-ranked fighters in the featherweight division. The next one on the list was the tough Chad Mendez. The TKO came at the end of the second round, and Alex went out with the victory and a Fight of the Night award. Moving up in the rankings, Volkanovski needed to face a top 3 fighter in the division before fighting for the title. He was paired with the legend, Jose Aldo, and needed to face him in Rio de Janeiro at UFC 237 in a Contenders Challenge fight. Volkanovski won a decisive unanimous decision and was one step closer to the title. In December 2019, Volkanovski faced Max Holloway for the UFC Featherweight Championship. It was a highly anticipated showdown, and the two fighters engaged in an epic battle. After 5 grueling rounds, the Australian emerged as the new champion, defeating Holloway by unanimous decision. Alexander's victory over Holloway was just the beginning of his reign as the UFC featherweight champion. He defended his title successfully against Holloway 2 more times, faced Brian Ortega, and dominated 5 rounds, crushing almost every part of Ortega's face and managing to survive a deep guillotine and fully locked triangle. Sent the Korean Zombie into space with a brutal TKO at UFC 273. Following this fight, Alex Volkanovski was put as a top pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC rankings. Volk decided to test himself for a second belt and faced Islam Makhachev at UFC 284 in Perth, Australia. The fight was very close as Islam had the first rounds and managed to take Volkanovski's back but couldn't finish. In the last 2 rounds, however, Volk showed why he's the best and always wins the championship rounds. He pushed Islam to his survival limits, and it was visible that only time saved Islam from being finished. Considering his pure domination and his 11-fight win streak before the fight, this was something new for the MMA community and all the fans. After this fight, and a bit of regret due to the loss, Volkanovski returned to the featherweight division to defend his belt. He dominated Yair Rodriguez for 3 rounds before finishing him with a laser TKO. It is always such a great pleasure to witness how someone started as a chubby rugby player with limited fighting skills and went down such a hard road to achieve excellence in such a demanding and dangerous sport like MMA. I want to show the world that with hard work and dedication, you can achieve your dreams. I came from a small town and I've reached the pinnacle of my sport. Keep believing in yourself, keep pushing, and never give up. This is a message from Alex, the great Volkanovski, an MMA superstar, a role model, and an inspiration for millions of fighters and fans all over the world. And that wraps up another fight story with MMA Station. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment of the action. Thank you for joining us on this incredible ride. Until next time, stay hungry, stay passionate, and keep supporting the world of combat sports.